This wasn't supposed to happen. Not to that aircraft, not in that airspace, and definitely not like this. Because what Iran may have managed to hit wasn't a fighter jet. It wasn't a drone. It was something far more critical. A Boeing E-3 AWACS, the eyes of the battlefield. And if that really happened, then the implications go far beyond a single aircraft. They point to something much bigger, something far more uncomfortable. Because this raises a question no one wants to answer yet. How do you shoot down the system that sees everything? To understand why this matters, you need to understand what the E-3 actually is. Because this isn't just a plane, it's a flying command center, a radar platform capable of detecting targets hundreds of kilometers away, tracking aircraft, missiles, even low-flying threats. Coordinating entire air operations in real time. Fighters don't just fly blindly into contested airspace, they rely on it. Missile defense systems don't operate in isolation, they rely on it. The E-3 isn't just part of the system, it is the system. Remove it and everything else becomes slower, less precise, more vulnerable. So when reports began to emerge suggesting that Iranian air defense systems may have successfully engaged one, analysts didn't react publicly, not immediately, but internally, this triggered alarms. Because taking down an AWACS is not just difficult, it's extremely difficult. These aircraft don't operate alone. They fly at high altitude, well behind friendly lines, protected by layers of defenses, fighter escorts, electronic warfare support, and distance, a lot of distance. So how do you reach something like that? That's where things start to get interesting. Iran's air defense network is not what many assume it to be. For years, it was seen as fragmented, a mix of older Soviet-era systems, locally developed platforms, and limited integration. But that perception has been changing quietly. Over the past decade, Iran has invested heavily in layered air defense. Systems like the Bavar-373, often compared to the Russian S-300, designed to engage high-altitude targets, long-range tracking radars, improved data fusion, better coordination between units. On paper, this creates something different. Not a single system, but a network. And networks behave differently. They don't rely on one radar, one launcher, one decision point. They distribute the problem. But here's the key question. Even with that, is it enough? Because detecting an AWACS is one thing. Engaging it is something else entirely. These aircraft operate with support. Electronic countermeasures, jamming, signal disruption, and perhaps most importantly, distance. They are not meant to be within easy reach. So if Iran managed to engage one, it suggests something changed. Either in positioning or in capability, or both. Let's consider the first possibility, positioning. In a high-intensity conflict environment, operational boundaries shift. Aircraft that normally stay far behind may move closer to maintain coverage, to compensate for losses, to support more aggressive operations. And that creates exposure, small at first, but real. Now consider the second possibility, capability. Iran has been working on long-range surface-to-air missiles for years, improving engagement ranges, improving tracking against low observable targets, improving resistance to electronic warfare, but more importantly, improving timing. Because modern air defense is not just about range, it's about when you engage and how. A system doesn't need to dominate the entire sky. It only needs one window, one opportunity, one moment where the target is exposed. And if that moment aligns with the right detection, the right tracking, and the right launch, then even a high-value asset becomes vulnerable. But there's another layer to this, one that makes the situation even more complex. Air defense today is not purely defensive. It's part of a broader strategy, a strategy that includes deception, electronic warfare, information control, and timing. If this engagement was successful, it may not have been accidental, it may have been prepared. Think about the sequence: degrade radar coverage, pressure support assets, force repositioning, create gaps, then exploit them. If that sounds familiar, it's because we've seen similar patterns before, in different conflicts, different theaters, different actors, but applied here against a platform like the E-3, that's a different level, because now the implications start to expand. Without AWACS coverage, air operations become fragmented. Fighters rely more on onboard sensors, which are limited. Reaction times increase, coordination suffers, and in a contested environment, seconds matter. This is where the real impact lies, not in the loss of a single aircraft, but in what that loss represents. A gap. And gaps in modern warfare get exploited fast. Now step back for a moment, because this is not just about one incident. If this capability is real and repeatable, then every similar platform becomes a potential target. Not just American, not just in one region, globally. And that changes planning. It changes risk calculations. It changes how far assets operate from the front line. It changes everything. Because for decades, platforms like the E-3 operated under a certain assumption. That distance, combined with protection, was enough. That assumption may no longer hold, and if it doesn't, then the entire structure built around it has to adapt, faster than most people realize. So now we return to the original question: how do you shoot down the system that sees everything? The answer might be simpler than expected. You don't attack what it sees. You attack the conditions that allow it to see, and once those conditions change, even the most advanced system can become vulnerable. What we may be witnessing here is not just a successful engagement, but the beginning of a shift in how air superiority is contested. And if that's the case, then this is not the end of the story. It's the beginning.